Hello and welcome to Mad Mike Makes, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make one of these hold down clamps. Now before we get to that, I just want to apologize for not making any videos in the last while. Business has been really good, and I've realized that the only way I'm going to continue making videos is by doing it at night. So with that being said, let's get on with the show. So I've been meaning to make some of these for quite some time now. I just haven't found the time, and let me show you what I really like about these little things. Okay, so one of the places where these sort of clamps are really handy is, let's say you had some slots in your crosscut sled and you wanted to secure some timber. You could have a slot that way, and that way you could then secure certain timber for cross cutting. Alternatively, if you wanted to do some cutting that way, let's say you built a box joint jig for your crosscut sled, or you want to do some special cutting, you could have a slot either side of the blade in this fence, and you could then have either one or two holding a piece of timber like that. They could be permanently mounted in here. Alternatively, you could have a round hole and then a slot, so you could put it in there, slide it up and just tighten it up. So for this kind of add-on to your table saw, this kind of table sled, these things can be incredibly handy, better than those big clunky clamps. Now this is my tenoning jig that fits on this machine. It actually rides along the fence, and it's got some micro adjustability, and this is actually the reason that I want to make some of these, because I'm going to be just mounting two of these in one in each slot. I'll drill that hole out a bit bigger so that I can literally just pop it in there and then shift it along and then clamp that down and that down. There's normally a sort of a stop fence here which is square to the table. I've removed that. I'm doing a couple of changes to this jig. So, but that's the actual reason I want to make these, and obviously this is really handy because the big clamps again are quite difficult to sort of fix on here and to secure this. Okay, so then on your bench is another place where these are really handy, and as you can see, so this slot is not really made for that, but I just want to use it to demonstrate. So if you had a couple of slots on your bench and you just wanted to clamp something down, and obviously this slot would be closer to the edge, so let's say you wanted to plane a chamfer on that piece of wood, or plane the edge with a small hand plane, or hold it down for whatever reason, again, these are really easy just to clip in and to tighten down very quickly to secure timber onto your bench. Okay, so let's have a quick look and just see what you're going to need to make some of these. The first thing you'll need is just a piece of scrap timber, and I would recommend that you use a nice solid hardwood. You can get below offcuts or something like this. As long as it's a nice hard strong hardwood, that's good. You're going to need a bolt of some sort of description, and you're going to need a knob with the same thread as the bolt. And then I'm using this piece of brass that I found. I had a small brass offcut and I've just drilled a hole in the top, and this is kind of the rocker that sits in the top of the clamp. You can probably use a dowel and just sort of flatten it off a little bit at the top, and I might just use a dowel and just show that as well, instead of this little brass rod. And then I'm going to be doing the cutting on a fret saw. If you don't have, a scroll saw. If you don't have a scroll saw, then you can just use a normal coping saw that you can buy at the hardware store. And then just to finish it off, I'm going to be using this this sander. If you don't have one of these sanders, I'm actually going to link a video from another YouTube creator that makes a very nice little tool that you can actually just put into your cordless drill and actually use it manually sort of to do shaping. It's a very small, sort of very easy tool just to make out of some scrap wood. And I'll put that link in the description. Okay, so there we go. I've made a little wooden rocker out of a dowel. It's not perfectly beautiful. I hope I've got that so you can see that. I've just flattened the top. I actually just flattened that on a disc sander, but you can use a plane, and I just drilled a hole through the top. So what you just saw me doing was actually just angling this this hole, because that does need to rock depending on how big the timber is that you're clamping down. So that's why that angle is quite important. So if you're angling sort of a bigger piece of timber, smaller piece of timber. Now, having said that, if you do have a problem with this and there's just not enough leeway in that, you could always put a piece of spacer in here and then clamp down your timber on that side. So just keep that in mind. Really just stick an offcut off the one side and it'll work like a normal clamp. So well, let's finish this off quickly and put that on. I actually discovered that the knob that I used wasn't the right thread. So this is a slightly different one, but it doesn't, it's just accident. So it doesn't really matter. That is the finished clamp. So as you can see, it does allow for some angle. I probably need to file this one a little bit more, because it's, you can see the angle there is quite a bit, there not so much. So I need to probably just put a bit more work into filing that. So you basically are looking for almost sort of a funnel effect in the actual hole that this bolt goes through. So there you go. It's not a perfect clamp. There are many ways to make this. You can put a lot more effort into these and make them really beautiful, but this is just a tutorial to help you and hopefully just encourage you to make some of these. It's a lot cheaper than buying them, and you already have the scrap timber and presumably some bolts and things, so very easy to make. So hope you enjoyed the video, and until the next one, go well.